Hello, thank you for joining me in a new video. This time I am bringing you the unboxing of the OPPO Reno 13 5G. Let's dive right in. OPPO has a rather unusual strategy. Their high-end models come with very competitive pricing, while their mid-range models are priced in a way that is not competitive at all. This particular device has been introduced in Mexico at a price of 10,999 pesos. You can see the reference price in other currencies on the screen just to give you an idea. But keep in mind that prices here differ from those there. From the very beginning, I definitely think the price is quite high. However, let's go through the phone point by point to see if it stands out in any areas. For the moment, let's start by unboxing the phone, and we immediately come across an envelope. This envelope is likely to contain a case, but let's verify that. And yes, indeed, first we discover some small quick guides and papers that are always included, and then we come across this case. Fortunately, it will be a case with slightly stiff corners, which will help protect the cell phone very well. As you can notice, it isn't completely smooth. Instead, it has some texture. Interestingly, this texture is internal, while the outside remains completely smooth. I don't see much practical sense in this design choice, except perhaps for aesthetic reasons, so it's quite nice to see a case that isn't entirely transparent. At least these added waves provide it with a unique style when the case is on the phone. In a moment, we'll see what it looks like with the case on, but first, let's take the cell phone out. Right away, we're going to check it out, and presto, here it is. Let's take off this sticker. As usual, OPPO offers very nice and pretty designs. This one is no exception. It reflects light in different ways on the back, and to me, it looks like the device has some kind of wing. This is the purple or violet edition, and I must say, it really looks quite nice. At the level of aesthetic design, OPPO consistently tends to excel a lot, showing great attention to detail. And now, we're going to go ahead and turn this device on, and as it powers up, we will check to see if there are any more contents in the box. We remove this and we are directly into the charger, which is rated at 45 watts as you can see. So while it might not be an ultra-fast charge, I believe it can compete quite well. And then we come across the cable, which, as you realize, is from USB to USB-C. It's not the most modern option available, and I think that there are other competitors where we could find something more up-to-date. Finally, we have the key to remove the SIM card tray, and that's essentially all the contents that we're going to find in this box. So let's put everything back, and after that, we'll focus on the cell phone so we can discuss its specifications. But first, take a moment to look at how. Here is how it appears without the case, and now take a look at how it looks with the case. Let me know in the comments which way you prefer to use it. As I mentioned, adding these lines keeps it looking interesting and attractive even with a holster. It's important to find a good balance between the fundamentals, having a visually appealing device, and also ensuring it remains safe and secure. So I already have this device set up, and by the way, I forgot to mention an important detail to you. We are discussing the OPPO Reno FG because there is also a G-free edition, meaning it only includes G in connectivity, which results in a different processor. Please be aware of this distinction to avoid any confusion. Now, let me begin by sharing some specifications of this cell phone with you. It measures 7.76 millimeters in thickness and has a weight of 192 grams. Interestingly, I perceive this device as slightly heavier than its actual weight, though I'm not entirely sure why. I just wanted to share that observation with you. And by the way, in this regard, it provides a significantly less premium experience compared to the OPPO Reno 13, which in terms of materials feels much more comfortable and better in the hand. It's important to note that we will find the fingerprint reader integrated within the screen, and it comes with an IP68 rating for resistance to both water and dust. This means it can be perfectly submerged up to a depth of 2 meters for as long as 30 minutes, or withstand water jets at 80 degrees of pressure. Rest assured, we will definitely not encounter any type of problem with this. Actually, in this instance, OPPO highlights that you can even use it in the pool, which is definitely one of its strongest features. The screen measures 6.67 inches diagonally, and we're discussing an AMOLED panel boasting a refresh rate of 120 Hz along with Full HD resolution. In this particular case, it lacks Gorilla Glass. Instead, it features DT Star 2, a less popular level of protection, so we can't really guarantee or be certain about the glass's resistance. Fortunately, we also have stereo sound, with a speaker located below and another one in the earpiece area for calls, along with a secondary output on the frame. The front camera is 32 megapixels, featuring an aperture of f2.4 and fixed focus. It's worth noting that while the preview isn't extremely advanced, I believe the result is quite satisfactory, as it balances lights and shadows effectively while maintaining a good level of detail. So when it comes to selfies, I believe it performs adequately, though it's not the most advanced in its price range. For the rear, we will discover a 50 megapixel main camera with an f aperture of 1.8 featuring autofocus and optical stabilization. Following that is the 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera with an aperture of f2.2, offering fixed focus and digital stabilization. Lastly, there's a 2 megapixel macro camera with an aperture of f2.4 and fixed focus. In this price range, we definitely don't like that they include the macro camera. Many manufacturers are already offering a telephoto camera at this price point, so it's not very competitive hardware-wise. In fact, just look at the results. The ultra-wide camera doesn't show very impressive quality in color, detail, or other aspects. The main camera mostly improves in color handling and dynamic range, but check out the results. That by applying 2x zoom, you don't seem to have cropping inside the sensor to have very good sharpness. Now you are looking at the 5x zoom, and it doesn't look that good either. And the maximum zoom it reaches is 10x, but I insist it doesn't seem to take advantage of the information of the high-resolution sensor very well. So at a photographic level, it may fall short. And when it comes to video recording, we can see that fortunately it can record in 4K at 30 frames per second, but only with the main camera, since the ultra-wide camera records solely in full HD, and the front camera also lacks the capability to record in 4K. This makes it evident that the device is quite basic in all aspects related to its cameras. However, when it comes to the imaging experience, it appears that OPPO aims to emphasize artificial intelligence. For instance, the AI Studio feature is included, which allows for the creation of artificial images for a bit of fun. Here are some examples that are worth noting. It's clearly done through artificial intelligence with an internet connection, so local execution isn't visible. However, it's impressive that these options are available on a non-high-end device, allowing you to create fun images. The photo editor also features some AI tools, which again need an internet connection, but it's great to see these tools on devices that are not part of the high-end. Please note that in this device, one recognizes and then removes everything necessary to achieve a good image. So, I emphasize, even though it doesn't boast such outstanding hardware through its software, it offers some attractive features. The battery is also expected to be a strong point with a capacity of 5,800 milliamps, and it supports charging at 45 watts. It will need to be specifically tested, but at least in theory, it appears that it should have a very extended autonomy because of the excellent capacity it offers, although it does not support wireless charging or other advanced features that, for instance, Motorola might include. In terms of software, we have ColorOS 15 running on Android 15. Additionally, it features 256 gigabytes of storage, which is quite beneficial, along with 12 gigabytes of RAM and virtual RAM. This RAM, in particular, should significantly aid in making the device feel very smooth, even if the processor isn't the most powerful. Speaking of the processor, we are discussing its capabilities. I must be honest with you, the Snapdragon Gen is a processor often found in much more affordable devices, so it is somewhat disappointing. However, I must admit that for many users, it will offer quite positive performance due to the RAM. But if your priority is gaming or you seek maximum raw power in this price range, there will certainly be many better options available. On Geekbench, we achieved scores of 929 points on single core and 2,621 points on multi-core. On Antutu, it reached 6,17,857 points. We have confirmed that it is indeed a relatively weak processor for this price range. However, if you don't typically play a lot of games on your phone, I believe you can still enjoy good performance with social networking apps and other activities. For now, we have reached the end of this video. Please remember that soon we will have the full video review available. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know you can show your appreciation, and we will see you next time.